Welcome back to the Ticker Signal, where we go in-depth and unpack our research on specific stocks and discuss the risks. Today, we will be talking about AST SpaceMobile, with ticker symbol ASTS. Now, this is a company with a mission that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. They want to build a cellular network in space. We're going to breeze down how they plan to do it, the massive risks, and why so many investors are paying very close attention. Okay, let's just start with a feeling we all know. That moment of pure frustration. You're out somewhere, you need to make a call, send a text, look something up, and you look down at your phone and nothing. 0 bars. Your smartphone just became a paperweight. Well, that dead zone? That's the exact problem AST SpaceMobile wants to get rid of. For good. And the size of this opportunity is, well, it's just mind-boggling. Through partnerships they already have with mobile carriers, AST's is looking at a market of 3 billion paying subscribers. And get this. That's just their partner's existing customer basis. That doesn't even count the billions of other people around the world who are still unconnected. The potential here is absolutely massive. So here's the plan for today. First, we'll dive into the big promise of ending dead zones. Then we'll look at how they're actually building these, cell towers in space. After that, we'll get into the multi-billion-dollar market they're chasing, cover the very real risks, and finally, ask the big question. With the stock's recent run-up, could it still fly higher? All right, let's kick things off with the big promise. What is ASTS actually trying to do? It's a vision for universal connectivity, a world with no more dead zones. So here's what makes this so revolutionary. This is being built as the first and only global network in space that's designed to connect directly to the phone that's in your pocket right now. No special dish, no clunky satellite phone, no extra hardware at all. You just use your phone. That, right there, is the game changer. It sounds incredible, right? But how in the world are they actually planning to pull this off? Let's take a look at how they're making this science fiction idea a reality. So this is not some PowerPoint fantasy. What you're looking at is the actual manufacturing of the huge phased arrays that are the heart and soul of their satellites. These are for their Bluebird satellites, and they are quite literally these cell towers in space that are going to broadcast a signal from orbit right down to your phone. And check this out. This isn't happening in some small garage. This is their huge facility down in Midland, Texas. This is where all the assembly, the integration, and the super complex testing of these satellites is happening right now. It just goes to show you this is a very real operation, building this thing today. Now you might be thinking, are they trying to replace Verizon or AT&T? Nope. And this is so critical to their strategy. They aren't competing with the big mobile network operators, or MNOs, they're partnering with them. The idea is brilliant. They fill in the coverage gaps for companies like Vodafone and AT&T, and then they share the revenue. It's a total win-win. Okay, let's talk money. I mean, what's the price tag on solving a connectivity problem for billions of people? What could this whole thing actually be worth if they succeed? The growth forecasts here are just explosive. We're talking about analysts projecting sales hitting nearly $600 million by 2027. And remember, they're starting from basically zero today. That's a heck of a ramp up. And this table really tells the whole story. Just look at that sales line. It jumps from 4 million to over $500 million in just a few years. Now look at that bottom line, EBITDA. That's a way of looking at profitability. You can see they expect to burn a lot of cash to get this network built, but the plan is to flip to being profitable, by this measure anyway, in 2027. It's a classic case of spending big now to hopefully earn big later. Okay, this all sounds incredible, but we have to be real. A project this ambitious, this groundbreaking, is absolutely packed with enormous risks. To be fair, we have to look at the serious hurdles ASTS has to clear. You know, the environment where they work is dangerous. NASA actually calls low Earth orbit an orbital space junkyard. Think about that. We're talking millions of pieces of debris zipping around up there, and a collision with even a tiny piece could be catastrophic for one of these giant satellites. And here's where it gets really dicey from a financial standpoint. The company pays for insurance on the rocket launch, which makes sense. But once the satellite is up there, in that space junkyard, the plan is to fly these multi-million-dollar assets completely uninsured. It's kind of like buying a Ferrari, insuring its delivery to your house, and then canceling the car insurance. It's a really high-stakes gamble. Now, of course, they've got competition. You've probably heard of Starlink, right? And Amazon's getting in the game too. But their whole approach is fundamentally different. Starlink and Cooper are building amazing networks, but they need you to buy special terminals. They compete with your internet provider. ASTS, on the other hand, partners with your cell provider to work with the phone you already have. Totally different models. And you see this a lot with visionary tech companies. There's a huge key person risk. So much of the company's success, its technology, and even its loan agreements are tied directly to its founder and CEO, Abel Avilan. I mean, it's right there in their financial agreements. The whole operation is incredibly dependent on him. All right, so we've seen the dream and we've seen the dangers. Let's talk about the stock itself. After a massive run-up, you have to wonder, is there any value left for investors getting in now? I mean, just look at these numbers. The performance has been, well, astronomical. If you put $100 in at the start of 2021, you'd have over $178 by the end of this year. The same money in a couple of major indexes, barely over $100. It has absolutely crushed the broader market. And that brings us to the central question. With a monster gain like that already in the books, this is the question on every investor's mind. Is all the good news, all that future potential, already baked into the stock price? But the bull case, the argument for why it could go even higher, is actually pretty strong. First, think about it. They haven't even started commercial service yet. They're pre-revenue. The stock is valued on what it could be, not what it is. Second, their market is literally the entire planet. Third, that partnership model is just so efficient. They don't have to spend a fortune finding customers. And finally, they are the first ones doing this. They have a massive head start. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. You have to balance these immense, undeniable risks against a truly revolutionary vision. And you have to wonder, could this actually be the future of how the entire world connects? That is the multi-billion-dollar question we'll all be watching. Thanks for watching this video. If you found the information helpful, please consider subscribing and sharing. See ya!